Good morning, good afternoon, friends, wherever you are. Welcome to this pretty thrilling webinar. I'm Sachin, I'm one of the strategy leads at Digitas, and we are very excited to have you join this thrilling webinar on Web3 and loyalty. It's one of the most looked forward webinar that we've produced. We've all been witnesses to this really exciting phase of Web3, where blockchain and blockchain has taken over with all new technologies. But we've also been very fortunate at Digitas to partner with brands to explore their Web3 strategy. And in that reference, it's we've always think about how does Web3 apply in terms of different use cases. So we're excited to have you join a couple of experts across the board to speak about Web3 and loyalty. So we have a few speakers. We have Morgan, who is the innovation lead at the Digitas, Adam, who is a creative technologist, Erin, who leads the CRM on the East Coast, and Morgan and Hayley on the West Coast. So with that, I'll pass it on to Morgan.
Thank you. So I'm going to kick us off today, and let's just talk about Web3. And yes, let's really talk about it. I think we have all, as Sachin said, seen it all over the place. And so we wanted to really dive in and talk about it in more detail before we get into the context of loyalty. So first and foremost, you are not behind. As with all emerging technologies, it can feel very easy to get caught up in FOMO. We've all fallen victim to our LinkedIn feeds and our inboxes and headlines all being filled with buzzwords about this space. And it's okay. It's okay if you haven't done anything with it yet. We're here to give you a little bit more background on how it might come to life for you and your brands. And I think this call is actually happening at a perfect time because we've seen that kind of initial spike of hype around the space begin to fade. And people are starting to call into question, what is the real value of this technology? And so as we shift out of this time of speculation and move into one that kind of favors a little bit more of a clear-headed assessment of what Web3 can offer, we thought it was the perfect time to get together. And our goal today is to equip you with the right context, the right information, and to really illuminate the unique value that Web3 can provide within the loyalty space in order to allow you to have more meaningful conversations with your teams, within your organization, and ultimately to make a decision on whether this is something that you want to explore or not. Okay, so what is the potential of Web3? Social media loves the word era right now. I don't know if it's like the Taylor Swift effect or what, but I'm really into using the word era. So let's use that same terminology for the internet. So if we think about the internet as eras, the early days of the web were what we would like to call the read era, meaning it was one way, it was static, and it provided us read-only experiences. So the read internet era was really about discovery via search and transactions through e-commerce. Then we moved into the second era of the internet, which we lovingly call Web 2. And this is kind of the internet as we've known it pretty much to date. And this is what we like to call the connected era of the internet. And this internet era was more social in nature. It was built for sharing. It was built on centralized platforms, apps, and networks. And it's the internet where, as we all know and feel, sometimes to our detriment, everyone is connected to everybody all the time. So when we think about this third era of the internet, the Web3 era, this is what we would call the immersive era of the web. And what separates this from where we are today is that this is going to be built on decentralized platforms and powered by the blockchain. And this decentralization is what's going to enable forms of radical customer centricity in ways that we've never seen before. And I don't want to steal too much of the stage from Erin and Hayley, who are going to talk more about this radical customer centricity later. So it's important to keep in mind as we talk about these eras, right? This immersive web, Web3 era, hasn't quite reached its full potential yet. But we are already seeing brands starting to tap into these new tool sets that Web3 technology enables. So again, if we are using these numbers, I lovingly call this Web 2.5, because what these programs have managed to do is successfully combine some of the traditional web technology that we know today with the potential of the blockchain. And that is making these more accessible, more user-friendly for mainstream consumers, because they're using interfaces that are easier to interact with, and they're integrating it with their existing systems. And what's been really interesting to see is that even though they're tapping into some of these new toolkits that Web3 enables through the blockchain, these programs are still very much relying heavily on some of these traditional loyalty mechanics that we all know and love, gamification, access, and community. So I'll walk you through a couple examples of how these brands are doing it. One of them is Starbucks Odyssey. So they're really leaning into gamification here. And what's happening within their program is their main mechanism is what they call journeys. These are the key experience that you're doing within the Starbucks Odyssey program. And what journeys are basically just a set of activities that are very much like traditional gamified loyalty activities. You complete quizzes, you go on challenges, you make a purchase in store, and each time you complete these journeys, you receive a stamp. And I think it's notable that they are not using the word NFT. They have renamed it a stamp. And stamps can then be bought and sold in their market, which is a built-in marketplace that they've built for their users to trade these things that they get. And in addition to stamps, you also are able to earn overall points that can go towards unlocking benefits within the program. So while the back end of this is running on blockchain and stamps are NFTs, we're still finding that they're using the traditional gamification approach to loyalty. The second example is YSL. So purchasers of their new Black Opium fragrance are able to claim one of 2 free NFTs. And those NFTs turn into either access to a gift voucher, exclusive content, or they then get future access to a private sale for something that's going to be coming up in the future. So because you own this NFT from their Black Opium fragrance, it's unlocking future access, not only to rewards right now, but the invitation to be a part of something that they're teasing as part of a bigger program. And we're seeing a lot of this. And I think that especially as brands are working through navigating multiple challenges as they go throughout this program, this kind of future promise or future potential or speculation with an NFT and feeling like, oh, I might get a chance to get something other people don't get becomes a really big allure for the program. And then lastly, we have Nike.Swoosh, which is very quickly becoming what I would consider the playbook for building community in Web3. And their approach is really emphasizing this role of community, particularly using co-creation. One of their first activations that they did was called the Our Force One tournament, our OUR Force One, a nice little play on Air Force Ones. And they had their .Swoosh members vote on their favorite Air Force One designs. And they were able to compete in a challenge where they could co-create a design of a virtual sneaker. And what I thought was extra cool about what they did was they then gave winners of that contest royalties for their creation. And so I think as you guys saw this idea of ownership, right, on the slides leading into this, they are really leaning into that, where once they've got these people who are co-creating with their brand, they're sharing the love back with them. So with all of the exciting inspiration from some of these pioneering brands in mind, I'm going to pass it over to Erin, who's going to talk a little bit more about today's loyalty landscape and how we might start to think about how we use Web3 to overcome some of the barriers that we face.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that lovely intro, Morgan. So we're going to pivot a little bit. We've, given a bit of an overview of Web3. Let's talk a little bit about where loyalty is today, and then we can bring them together. we spend a lot of time talking about best-in-class loyalty experience. I think, with the group on this call, I don't think a day goes by when someone doesn't ask us about best-in-class programs. And while everyone has their own answer to this question, almost all of the programs that are cited as being a best-in-class experience have the following 4 things in common. First and foremost, they are emotionally engaging. Another commonality is that they have a compelling value exchange that makes people want to sign up and continue to participate in these programs. And the ones that are really killing it are the ones that are finding really interesting ways to leverage the data that they have on their customers to elevate that experience and connect that experience across all touch points in the customer journey so that there is no dead ends in providing that true networked experience. So as we get into the next slide, these pillars allow best-in-class brands to meet rising consumer expectations for more human relationships. Consumers are increasingly expecting brands to be highly attuned to their emotional needs. They expect us to value their time, deliver connected and seamless experiences that utilize that data that they know we have on them to make their lives easier. And as you'll see on the next slide, if this doesn't happen, they can lose interest. A lot of loyalty programs, initially entered the space with the very transactional nature of the value prop. And we're seeing that over time, the efficacy of those programs is starting to wane. Customers are frustrated about how long it takes to rack up rewards. There are issues there that have led to more than half of loyalty memberships to become stagnant and over 3/4 of programs failing within 2 years. So gone are the days when simply having a program is enough. You do have to connect on that emotional level. But when done right, CRM and loyalty can be so successful at helping brands form lasting relationships with their customers. It's going to help drive engagement beyond that simple transaction and increase lifetime value over the course of their relationship with you.
Great. And when we look at how brands are embracing that true relationship, we're seeing in kind of 3 key ways that Morgan's already kind of teed up. First, we've talked about this already in this presentation. We'll say it a bunch more times, but harnessing that customer knowledge. It all starts from understanding your customers, being able to understand what they need, and then serve those proactively and anticipate their needs. So brands like Domino's, they are coming together. They have their pizza profile. It becomes the spine of their loyalty program. All of their initiatives require customers to sign up, but in doing so, it allows them to collect all of the different data about their customers, refine their understanding, and continuously deliver that value exchange wherever they show up. And then second is moving away from just those transactional incentives to more emotional rewards such as access and services. Delta and Amex are probably one of the best examples of this, where Amex is known all about providing that exclusive access, and Delta creates those different services that allow you to know when your bag has been on the plane. You can do everything in the app, but they also use their partnership program to continuously connect and expand their value by connecting to Starbucks rewards or other partners as well. And then one of the ultimate ways to build loyalty is creating and cultivating that sense of belonging, more of that intrinsic value. Sephora is definitely one of the beacon brands that we look to, where they have their beauty insider community and their beauty ambassadors, allowing to scale one of the most important needs for people in the beauty world, which is that expertise, but it allows it to come from customers themselves. So we're embracing it in these 3 key ways. However, if we move to the next slide, barriers still exist when we try to meet these customer-centric ambitions. So when brands are trying to harness that customer knowledge, there are fragmented data sources everywhere, whether it's with the brand internally trying to connect their dots, or externally if you don't own the point of service and being able to collect all those. So we can't get a complete singular view in order to show up wherever the customer is. And then the emotional rewards. Brands can only go so far when the ecosystem is closed. Even when they start adding partners, creating those value add systems can be very bespoke and can get very expensive for the smaller brands. And then when it comes to belonging, we talk all the time about creating that mutually beneficial relationship, but inherently, loyalty programs traditionally really benefit the brand more than the customer. So there's an ultimate ceiling to how far we can go to get that truly balanced value exchange. But enter Web3, which has the potential, and keyword is potential, that we'll continue to talk about, to remove these barriers and really help build that true sustainable relationship. So we wouldn't be strategists if we didn't have a from to slide. So here is ours, that we need to stop thinking of Web3 as a silver bullet, or it's only just NFTs, or something we say all the time here at Digitas. It is not something customers are actively looking for and actively need. We have to bring it down a level and just see it as this toolkit that can further enhance, elevate, strengthen customer relationships. And how can it do that? If we look at the barriers that we have, Web3 has the potential to unlock a way to strengthen that customer relationship. And I'm not going to steal the thunder from Adam, who's going to go into these in more detail, but starting with that fragmented data source, Web3 gives us that potential to have that singular ID across all of the ecosystem. So then we can truly know who our audience is, what they want, and then consistently shape the experiences towards that. Instead of having that closed ecosystem, Web3 has the potential to create a much more open ecosystem, which can be truly rewarding for the audience, but also for the brand, that saves a lot of time and allows them to scale their value proposition. And speaking of value, with Web3, as Morgan already alluded to, it creates more of that participatory relationship where consumers become owners. So it creates a much more vested interest and it allows for a much stronger connected relationship. But Adam is going to jump into all of these and talk through how can they come together and what Web3 has the potential to do.
Awesome. Thanks, Hayley. All right, let's get into the mechanics of this a little bit. So for those who are not intimately familiar with and deeply versed in Web3, I want to highlight for you the three pillars, which Hayley just beautifully teed up, that we think differentiate it from Web2 and make it interesting for us from a marketing perspective and a CRM perspective. And those are the ability to zero in on individual first-party data in a new and interesting way, new ways to configure rewards and new canvases on which we can paint those reward programs, and new types of relationships between the brands and their most fervent audiences, and different kinds of connections and different kinds of community building. So let's rock on to the next slide. We're going to start with the singular ID. So an important aspect of Web3 is that the customer data and the profiling and all the information about the user that we're interested in, the paradigm is inverted in Web3 from what we're used to. The user owns and holds all of her credentials that she uses to interact with different digital properties. So that's different from Google having your credentials stored at Google that Google is familiar with and they maintain their account there. And Amazon has a set of credentials for you that are specific to Amazon. And the big platforms and the big internet companies use that access to your credential data to their benefit, understandably. In Web3, that's reversed. And the user theoretically has sovereignty over their data. And this opens interesting possibilities in light of the oncoming cookieless future, and also points to different kinds of incentives that might make sense between brands and audiences. So let's go to the next slide and I'll get a little deeper into this. So Web3 wallets, and those are the engines of Web3 that people use to hold their assets and to maintain their relationships with brands in the Web3 space. Web3 wallets, by default, are transparent, which is very interesting to us from a marketing perspective. It means that by default, unless a user takes explicit steps to make it otherwise, you can see a history of the assets that they hold and maybe some of the digital properties that they've interacted with. And we as an industry are just at the beginning of establishing new conduits and mechanisms to make that data actionable and to make it useful. But again, it's in the hands of the end user, and he or she can determine which aspects of their personal data, with getting really granular. Is it the birthday? Is it their location? Is it their phone number? All of the above, none of the above. Which aspects of their personal data do they want to share with the brand? And the relationship now becomes one where the user has an expectation that the brand is going to offer incentives in return for their data. And that's very different than the paradigm that we're used to, where everything is free, but all of the benefit is used to, train the AI models for Google, as one example, right? So the brands used to be able to monetize this data. Now the relationship is shifting, and it's more interesting and it's potentially richer. What is the brand willing to give back to the user in return for her personal identifying information? And that is a story that's going to unfold in many interesting ways as Web3 continues to grow. So let's roll on. Now, in our next section, let's talk about what is possible in this new paradigm. So one of the advantages, when we're talking about Web3, we're really talking about blockchain, decentralized database technology that underpins all of it. And we don't need to get into the technology there, but I will say that the blockchain enables some types of consumer interaction that weren't really possible before, or at least were not nearly as practical. So as one example, we know loyalty and rewards points. They've been around forever. It's a well-established way of interacting. But the blockchain enables these types of tokens, these individual counters, to be interoperable and exchangeable. So you might be able to one day use rewards from one brand in another brand's ecosystem to the benefit of all the brands and all the consumers who are involved. Another thing that you can do is distribute blockchain-like tokens to end users that gate their entry into unique and exclusive experiences that the brand might want to offer as a really fine incentive and as a reward. And these tokens stay in the user's Web3 wallet as a sort of ticket stub that gives them memory beyond just the experience itself, and access to other types of activations. The brand can deliver and distribute digital assets to the end user at will. So if you are a Web3 wallet holder and you're in a relationship with a particular brand, you might wake up one day to find that the brand has airdropped, that's what we call gifting in Web3 effectively. They might have airdropped you a new asset or a token or an activation that you weren't expecting. And in some cases, for example, with Nike Space Pods, which is a Web3 ecosystem that brand has stood up to engender loyalty. In some cases, they're gifting you fairly elaborate digital assets that represent, an entire, basically a digital apartment that you can live in online in your imagination, and connect your digital living space with other members of the brand's loyalty program in brand safe and interesting and exciting ways. So I'm sure that triggers your imagination to all different kinds of configurations of what's possible here, right? That we're only beginning to touch on. So when you talk about community building, this is a way to manifest it in Web3 space, where the communities can interact with each other and plus each other up in new ways. They can share the tokens with each other. They can, the loyalty and rewards points can be transferable. They can be customizable. They can be given scarcity that is, artificially maintained, but makes things really exciting for the recipient, and enables us to give rarity and value to digital assets on a sliding scale at will. So there's a lot of blank canvas in the CRM space for these types of rewards that Web3 enables. Let's roll on to the next one. This is just hammering home the point that these systems are largely interoperable, because the blockchain is the foundation, is underneath everything. You can build your edifice on that and know that at the end of the day, everyone, the users, the brands, the agencies, everyone involved is partaking of the same infrastructure, which, and one of the, cardinal principles of Web3 is composability and interoperability, meaning that everything should fit neatly together with everything else without needing to go to undue lengths to make that happen. And that's different than what we know. Every platform that we use for marketing and CRM right now is largely proprietary and requires its own spin for people to interact with. But the spirit of Web3 is that everything Lego bricks together neatly, and that opens up new possibilities for brands as well. And then let's look at better connections. So let's rock on here. I think this is particularly rich in a number of ways. So when you distribute tokens, points, whatever it might be, on behalf of brand to the audiences, you are sort of entering into microtransactions that give the end user a sense of participation and ownership in the brand. And we see this in Europe with Socios tokens, for example, that people use to join their favorite soccer team, in essence. And the more of the rewards points and loyalty tokens that they hold, the deeper their connection and attachment to their particular soccer club. And they can use these tokens to have an outsized voice in voting on, for example, what music plays when the team comes out on the field, or the designs of the jerseys, or whatever it might be. But expanding this out, there is a sense that brands and their most fervent audiences are forming new kinds of connections and almost becoming like a hybrid between the brand and the fan, where the brand can sort of crowdsource future product decisions through their conduits with the audiences that are enabled by Web3. And it makes the audiences feel like they have some hand in the direction of their favorite brands. And this can't be overstated. This is really important to young people in particular, who really feel that now that the social media era has teed them up for this kind of fluid connection in every direction at once, that they should have a right to have that kind of voice with brands who are brave enough to enable it. And let's roll on to the next one. The other thing about this relationship is, once a brand has deposited a loyalty token in a user's Web3 wallet, by the nature of Web3 technology, they have now permanently, in effect, opened a conduit between the brand and that individual, that wallet holder. And this conduit stays open perpetually for new communications, for new airdrops, for all manner of communications. And the brands that are most nimble in this space are using this sparingly but cleverly, right? So in addition to email, CRM, and all the other modes of contact that we're familiar with in this space, we have a new means of communicating that is a way to transfer digital value instantly to the delight of the end user. So I think this permanently open conduit, this new communications channel, is something that we need to think about very seriously and struggle to understand so that we can take advantage of it in a way that is sensitive and that benefits both sides. So that's yet another flavor of Web3's new capabilities that we're getting. And that brings us into our guiding principles. What should you do if you're considering dipping a toe in the water of this space? How should you proceed? We have, for your convenience, brought together a number of principles that we use in our day-to-day that we have found keep us grounded in this space. And this, I'm going to represent all of us on this webinar here, but I'll just step through them. So something that our intrepid strategists on this call fervently believe in, and I've heard them say many times, is this idea that you solve customer problems strategically. You don't lead with the technology. Just because you have access to the magic new tools that Web3 enables doesn't mean that you've understood the use case and the benefit to the brand and what the brand is trying to achieve. So hold your jets on the Web3 until you have a profound understanding of the business problem you're trying to solve. The technology is not as important as understanding the customer problem and the insight and the strategy that you're going to bring to bear to resolve those challenges. Second is be playful and be experimental. What we have found is that brands who experiment in the Web3 space and maybe don't even do it successfully, maybe they step on a rake, maybe there's many a slip twixt the cup and the lip. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. But what we have found is that audiences who are true believers in Web3, and there are many of them, right? 23% of American millennials collect NFTs. These audiences care more about the fact that the brand made the attempt because they see it as an endorsement of this future-facing rewriting of the internet that these people really truly believe in. So even if it doesn't work out, you can gain a lot of street cred in the Web3 space by showing that you endorse and support efforts to branch out in different directions and to explore. The people in the Web3 space are truly explorers. And if you are alongside with them in the trenches exploring, they value that highly. The third thing is, obviously, don't throw away your existing CRM platform and your existing CRM technology. That would not be advisable. And to consider this a new channel, an expansion of your CRM canvas instead of a replacement. I think that's probably self-explanatory. And then fourth, stay consistent with your brand. That should go without saying. You should not need to contort your brand principles in order to align yourself with the Web3 ethos. And fifth, approach Web3 as a tool. It is not a strategy in and of itself. And Morgan and Erin and Hayley will have a lot more to say about that in detail. And then finally, understand that there's a long way to go. There are many issues that need to be streamlined to enable further mass participation in this space. Sometimes Web3 can be a little complex, which is why brands like Starbucks and others go out of their way to obscure the Web3 mechanics and wrap them in a Web2 wrapper, like Morgan mentioned earlier. There's a bit of raw technology that the user experience still needs to be refined. There are security issues. This space is evolving so rapidly, and there's so much happening, but it's going to be unfolding over years. So if you're, feeling FOMO and you're feeling a certain impatience, and you're worried about your status in this space, understand that everyone is at a similar starting gun right now. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my erstwhile fellow travelers here. I'm going to kick it back over to Sachin.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam, and the panelists, Erin, Morgan, and Hayley. This was so insightful. There's a genuine craving in the marketplace around the powerful technology that's underlying Web3, and what you guys have just presented with loyalty and Web3 and unraveling the mystery has been pretty insightful. So thank you so much. I forgot to mention at the top of the conversation, we would love questions, but I see folks have already started asking questions into the chat. Please do while we continue asking the questions. The first question that's coming up is a pretty philosophical question. Given there's been a lot of negative conversation around NFTs and how it's impacting Web3. Should I really be investing in Web3 right now?
So that is something that we grapple with, and there's a lot to say on this topic. So in the blockchain world, and again, blockchain is underneath everything here, there are a number of different configurations of how you can establish a blockchain. So the Bitcoin chain, for example, which is probably the most famous of the blockchain implementations, uses a method called proof of work to establish its security and to generate new coinage and so forth. Proof of work is a system that requires every computer involved in the ecosystem to max out its CPU until smoke is coming out of the back of the computer, and to devour electricity and to do all the things that have brought negative associations and negative connotations to the blockchain. Proof of work. There is an alternative method called proof of stake, which dramatically, by orders of magnitude, reduces the number of computers that need to have steam coming out of them at all times. And I'm not going to get into the technical underpinnings of it, but proof of stake is infinitely more eco-friendly. And Ethereum, the main blockchain that we're concerned with here when we're talking about loyalty and rewards, and almost everything comes back to Ethereum except in a couple of edge cases for CRM and for all the activity that we see in Web3 space. It's by far the leading blockchain after Bitcoin. Ethereum has transitioned to this environmentally friendly model. So there is a story to be told about the negative environmental impact of the blockchain, but it does not really apply in the instance of the CRM space that we're talking about here. So it's certainly something that we take very seriously. And surprisingly enough, all of the technologists in the community who are building together in this ecosystem have done something about it. So that story has changed since the initial hype explosion around the blockchain a couple of years ago. And I'm not going to say that it's entirely eradicated, and proof of stake has some of its own philosophical issues. It allows the amassing of power in the hands of individuals in a way that the decentralized ethos of the blockchain is supposed to avoid, but it does dramatically reduce environmental impact.
Thank you, Adam. The second question, this is more a vertical industry question, but applies to multiple verticals. So I'm going to broaden it up for the group. How can Web3 help with rewards management? We have to integrate seamlessly across different brands. Any advice, suggestion? Morgan?
Yeah, so I think that this is probably one that we would probably need a little bit more context on, and we can set up a future conversation. But my initial reaction is, as it relates to rewards, and especially as it relates to other brands, one of the benefits of Web3, right, is when you can see into my wallet, you can see into everything that I do. So if I have given you access to this information, you can now see my competitive behavior. You can see the types of loyalty interactions that I've done with other brands. All of that history remains on the blockchain. And so I think it's actually a really interesting opportunity to incent certain behaviors or deliver rewards based on data points that you may never have actually had before. Maybe a competitive action. So if I saw somebody, spend a certain amount on an NFT or a reward with another brand, I could then make a decision about how I want to incent them. Maybe I want to offer greater, spend more on an offer for somebody that I know is more likely to convert or otherwise, right? That's data points from behind the curtain from your competitive set that you might not have had previously. And I think as we think about the need to integrate seamlessly across competitive brands, right? I don't think it's a have to, but I would more view that as an opportunity, as something that you can do. I remember back in the day, this is a really weird analogy. When I was working within the automotive space, or at the CPG space, excuse me, there was a company that basically opened up to allow all of these different competitive brands to provide some sort of couponing together by sharing consumer data. And it was of all of their benefit to have access to that data, but they all also needed to agree that they wanted access to it in order to be able to provide custom offers. And so I kind of view this blockchain situation very similarly, where are there opportunities that we can do something that's for the benefit of us all, but then also where are there opportunities where I can kind of use this data as a peek behind the curtain to how my consumer might be engaging with other brands. So I'm not sure if that's a direct answer or not. I think we might have needed a little more context to the question, but would be happy to set up some time to discuss if there's something we'd like to talk about in more detail.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Morgan. The third question, I know Adam kind of touched on it, but I would love to get Hayley and Erin's perspective. The question is, how should I do a loyalty program in Web3? And if you can elaborate that.
Well, the first thing.
You start, I'll piggyback.
Awesome. Well, the first thing is focusing on why I'm going to say some things that we already talked about. Why are you doing a loyalty program? What is the need? Erin talked at the front about loyalty is not just the program, it's the overarching customer experience. So when you're looking at that, I would look at what is your value exchange, and can Web3 be an actual extension of that value? Not should we do a Web3 loyalty program is probably asking the wrong question. Is what is our value exchange and what are the right environments, platforms, tools, whatever buzzword to help fulfill that. So if you're looking for it, I would say then start seeing what do you already have in place and start testing your way in. Is Web3 a place where your consumers want to engage? Is it a community angle? Is it an access? Those seem to be the first ways to dip your toes in. But Erin, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think you said it beautifully. One of the things I think we all will say until we're blue in the face is don't start with the solution, start with the problem. Is there a barrier that we're trying to overcome? Is there a gap in the experience that we're seeing that's causing a lot of friction? And then look, is Web3 the solve for that? And if so, great. But I think if you're coming at it saying, what do I need to do in Web3? You may be coming at this a little bit from a roundabout method. And so continue to frame it like we do for any other piece of technology, any other tool, frame it in the benefit for consumers and the value that we're trying to provide for them. And then you really can't go wrong there.
I would add to that, if you are considering standing up a Web3 CRM and loyalty effort, one of the things I think is really smart that we've seen some brands do is you don't assume that the end users and the audience are intimately familiar with the mechanics of Web3. So Starbucks, for example, who have one of the most successful Web3 based CRM systems in existence today, a big part of it is explicit outreach and education on Web3 itself. So some of the rewards that they offer are experiences inside a Starbucks where the wallet holders all get together physically, and a Web3 expert comes in and takes them to school, which actually turns out to be a fairly popular aspect of their program. So the Starbucks Odyssey rewards thing that you've probably heard a lot about in this space includes a huge component that's just dedicated to education, which is another value that everybody can explore together. We at Publicis have done the same thing for MasterCard with their Artist Accelerator, where you get to watch 5 up-and-coming musicians, musical artists, learn about Web3 at the same time as you're supporting them by becoming a token holder. The more tokens you have, the more uplift you're giving to the particular artist that you're a fan of. But everyone is absorbing new knowledge in the process of participating in the loyalty program. So I think it's not a mandatory thing, not required, but I think it's very interesting to play up the fact that you're doing something new and have everyone involved learn together. So that's a layer that I think is interesting to consider when you're looking at these kinds of programs.
That aligns well with another question. Are there any other brands that are doing this really well? Morgan, Adam?
There definitely are. I actually think another interesting thing is that we're seeing an emergence of Web3 native brands. So one of those brands is a brand called Kiki World. It's actually a beauty brand. And this brand was born in Web3. And so their whole vision is that the brand will be community-led and created. So they create new beauty products with really technology at the foundation of their mission. So, refillable pens with NFC chips and the use of robotics and AI in the formulation of their products. But they're actually then making it so that everybody in the community gets to vote on what products they create. And then in the end, they are actually sharing revenue with the same people who are helping kind of decide the future of the brand. So it's not a traditional loyalty program, but I think the entire brand itself is built with loyalty in mind. And, through that lens of community engagement and through ownership, which I thought was just really cool. So that is the brand Kiki World that comes top of mind for me.
Awesome. Anything from
anyone else?
And rest of the team? Fine. It would be a miss not to ask this question in this time, but what do you see the role of AI in Web3 royalty? This would be Morgan, Adam, and then Erin.
The thing about AI is that you can find use cases for any vertical in any activity in any direction. That's why everybody is so hair on fire about the generative AI revolution. I think the thing I'm most interested in, so if you look under the hood, Web3 it can be extremely technical. And even for a person like myself who has an engineering background, I sometimes struggle with following the trail of data and understanding the wallet addressing systems, and things get pretty crazy pretty fast. The most interesting trend that I'm seeing lately is the use of AI to simplify and turn into easily understandable human language the vast intricacy and interconnectedness of the blockchain itself. And you're going to see a lot of startups and a lot of investment money go into this idea that One of the impediments to blockchain technology becoming ubiquitous and universal has been this perception of technical complexity, and a layer of generative AI atop it to turn it into something that any average person can sit down and be Superman or Superwoman flying over the digital space, understanding all knowledge at once, being able to instantly throw up charts and graphs and do competitive analyses of different products and have all of that be done with simple verbal commands is going to be pretty transformative. So that's the first use case that I think of. AI, all the things.
Yes. Any ads from any of the other folks? Cool. So this was really insightful. Thank you all for taking time, especially the panelists and folks on the team, folks in the audience for taking time out to listen to this. We at Digitas, as you've noticed, is we're not just doing solutions for the sake of solutions. So there's a lot of thought put in around from a consumer perspective, from a business perspective. And what we had today was a great integration of minds in terms of application as well as technology. And what I would encourage is, if there are any other questions that are more specific, please do reach out to us. We have our experts here, and also follow us. We have a studios at Digitas, which kind of focuses on these new emerging technologies and use cases around it. So thank you, everybody. It was a really incredible session, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.